following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Good evening, everyone. We're a little bit late, but we're here. Welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your co-hosts. To my right is a man who is still recovering from Saturday's live stream, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right. And let me just say first, how are you doing, sir? How are you doing? How's everything going?
I'm doing well. You know, I just got back from the gym. I got my post-workout creatine. I voted today because it's election day where I am. So I'm pretty good. You got some stories, maybe have some stories to tell about your live stream from Saturday.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
And first, that's why I wanted to ask you how I was doing, how you were doing before I jumped in, because I didn't want to just steamroll the start of the show here. But I would be remiss if I did not first thank you, sir, for stopping by for a couple hours, hanging out and playing a little Fall Guys. Maybe next year we can do that for a little longer here. But the thing is, I would be remiss if I did not thank everyone who donated. People were more than generous. People donated. Some people donated multiple times. My sister donated multiple times. Your sister made a very generous donation. You made a generous donation. So many people showed up. Many of our mutual friends made donations. My friend Chris, who was there with me virtually, he made donations. Friends of his from Virginia made donations. One of his bandmates. There's just so many people. I would not be able to thank them. A lot of my relatives, just a lot of support for what I think is one of the most worthy causes. I was very tired. I'm a little disappointed in myself. I did not make the 24 hours. I made it to 20.
I want my donation back, Dustin. I expect you to I'm just kidding.
I made it 20 hours. 20 seems to be my
still
magic
admirable.
It was, and I got to spend some time with my nephew. He spent the night. He played a little bit. It was just It was nice to bring everybody together. My sister surprised me with Taco Bell. The best story of the day for me, though, was the fact that Butterfinger, and yes, I did double check, it is the candy bar company owned by Nestle. Butterfinger offered to match every amount donated from the hours of 1 p.m. Eastern time to 2 p.m. Eastern time. And unfortunately, a little gaffe on my part. I'm in the middle of a bunch of things, because you would think hosting a stream and playing video games is easy. I don't know how some of these people do it. It's tough to try to keep everything going, especially when you have some people that are when you have a kid that's excited about things. Chris's son was playing with us. There was a lot going on, and I especially felt bad when you came, because I had to have one earpiece in so I could hear them, to hear what was going on, and then just talking to you. It was a test of my multitasking skills.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I did not see the text until 1:37, and no one had donated in that time. So then I donated because I wanted them to match somebody's amount. So Butterfinger, we got a little money out of Butterfinger, but it's a magical weekend for me. It's one of my favorite events of the year. I'm hoping as it continues to grow that I can make like more of a party out of it. It just is a great thing. It's raising money for sick children. It happens all over it happens nationally. It happens in Canada, and I know parts of Europe too. Extra Life as a collective unit raised $8.2 million year to date. So I just feel fantastic. Yes, I was tired. I did get some sleep, and don't worry, I did watch a surprising amount of football. So I'm ready. I'm ready to talk. But thanks again to everyone for their generosity, the shares, the likes, everything. I was able to reach and exceed my goal thanks to you. We raised $1,210 as of now. For the Bernard and Millie Duker Children's Hospital, which is local to where Ryan and I are. So thank you to everybody, and hope to see you again next year, because I'm getting in again in 2024. And it's not too late to donate. It goes all the way until December. It goes until the end of the year. So awesome. If you wanted to donate but didn't get your chance, don't worry. It's not too late. And I just might throw in a little mini stream before the holidays just to get after it a little bit.
All right. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd be happy to take part in that as well. Even though I don't have a PlayStation 4, I could always do a drop by and play some Fall Guy, or get eaten by zombies. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So we just want to remind people to just do a couple of things for us before we go on tonight. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to No Credentials Required on your preferred social media app, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Same thing with the podcast side. Subscribe to the podcast and all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play. Rate and review. 5 stars is the number of stars we would like you to if you could, please rate us that way, and review if you're able to do so on your preferred platform. And because it's a live show, we want you, the audience, to engage with us. And I know, Dustin, I know this sound could have picked you up on Saturday when we were kind of struggling, but here we go. Gotta play that magical sound. That's right, folks. Engage with the show. Leave your comment. We've actually got one already from Cold Iron. Says, I'm in the house. That's awesome. Nice about my Vikings.
We just may.
We might. So let's go to what we usually do here, Dustin. Let's start with the biggest upset of the week. I really didn't have any.
Yeah, I didn't either. And I always hate these weeks because usually there's one that like really jumps off the page. But I'm looking at my notes and I was like, yeah, I'm reaching, because even no matter how optimistic I was about the Seahawks heading into that Ravens game, I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah. So I pretty much every single game that I watched, I just, cause like there's no upset.
Yeah.
Every team I expected to win won, and that includes last night's game, which we'll get to in just a moment. Because I got some thoughts.
Oh, I imagine. I think both of us are going to be.
You know what? Let's talk about our biggest disappointments. I'm going to give you the floor first, Dustin.
All right.
I imagine your Seahawks majorly disappointed you on Sunday, so I'm going to give you the floor and have you talk about that game.
They did, and you know what? Both our teams let us down this week, but your time's coming. But just to say, so let me set the scene. I go to bed. At 4 a.m. Sunday morning, and I figured to myself, okay, I'll try to sleep for like 8 hours. I'll get up at noon. The Seahawks, I'm not gonna watch Red Zone, because this is one of the times where the Seahawks, they're on CBS. I was pleasantly surprised. I turn on Red Zone, and then I hear Tony Romo's voice, and I'm like, oh, this means one thing. This is the game. I'm flipping over to CBS. So I start watching, and immediately I just become disappointed. I'll try to keep it somewhat quick, but let me just say, the Baltimore defensive line was dominant. dominant. Not only did they get some sacks on Geno, they didn't get like a ton of sacks, but they stuffed the run all day. Kenneth Walker couldn't get anything going. But the biggest signal to me was 3 batted balls in the first half. On 3 balls that Geno tried to throw, the balls were batted down. And I'm thinking to myself, geez, Geno threw, I think, a couple of picks. My memory's a little hazy on that. They couldn't get anything going offensively. They had 158 yards total offense, I believe, and that's bad enough. But when you factor in the point that 50 of those yards came on one long catch and run by DK Metcalf, not a good day. Not a good day. And previously, the Seahawks defense had been respectable against the run. Baltimore was able to run all over them. They gave up 2 rushing touchdowns to Gus Johnson. They couldn't stop Lamar. They couldn't stop Lamar Jackson. This game went so sideways. It went so sideways that CBS cut away from the game pretty much at the beginning of the fourth quarter. They cut away from the game when they went to that Saints game. They went to the Saints game because it was so bad. And Tony Romo, you know, I wasn't the biggest fan of him as a quarterback just because he was on the Cowboys, and I didn't really like the Cowboys at that time. Still don't. They kind of annoy me. I don't know. It's just something. But as an announcer, I like Tony. But I got to say, he was trying his best. He sat there and he actually said, he goes, oh, in the second half, the Seahawks are going to hang in this game longer if they can get the offense going, because Pete Carroll's defenses, they usually make small adjustments at halftime, and you'll notice that their defense gets better as the game goes on. Now, I suppose they got a little better because the final score was like 37-3, and it was at halftime. I forget what it was, but it was like high 20s. So I guess that they got a little better. But Tony Romo, he was really trying. But man, it was just real disappointing. Geno seems to be regressing, kind of turning into a pumpkin because he's trying to force the ball too much. He's getting frustrated. And I think this says a little bit. I'm hoping my Seahawks can rebound next week, but I think this says more about the state of the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, Odell Beckham was out there making catches. He had a big day.
He had a touchdown on his birthday. His birthday, caught a touchdown from Snoop Hundley. By the way, Tyler, not Snoop.
Yeah.
Okay. God, gross. Cold Iron says Metcalf is on my fantasy team. I got 1 50-yard phone alert, then silence.
Yes.
I can imagine if you're a fantasy football guy, you get that alert, and then all of a sudden just nothing for the rest of the game. But it has to be even more disappointing if you're a Seahawks fan. That was the only real big play they had all day long.
Yeah, and you know what? The thing is, why they're my biggest disappointment, it's not that I thought that they were going to win this game, but I thought that they would at least keep it close, you know, and it just wasn't close at all. And I think I need to check my expectations with my Seahawks, because I think they're a little further away than some of the upper echelon teams. But we'll see. There's still a lot of season left. We'll see what happens. But Ryan, I think I know this answer, and we're both going to go a little long on this first segment.
Let me read you something I found on Twitter from overnight from OptaStats. The Twitter account is OptaStats. The Jets are the only team in the Super Bowl era to have their defense collect 5+ sacks, hold the opponent under 200 yards, and not allow any 25+ yard plays, and still lose the game by 20+ points. Let that sink in a little bit. Because this defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. Their offense, however, is stuck somewhere back in the preseason. All right. I understand. Look, the NFL, when they made the schedule and they put up all these primetime games for the Jets, whether it be on Monday night, Sunday night, big games in the afternoon, the premier games with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, or or Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. You made that schedules. You're expecting Aaron Rodgers. 4 plays into the season, he's gone. And you're stuck with Zach Wilson in his third season in the NFL. And you expect any third-year quarterback to improve, to make those improvements, to make adjustments in his game. He hasn't. Now, granted, he threw for over 230 plus yards, but no touchdowns, 2 fumbles. Again, the interceptions have gone down this year, but the fumbles have not. The offensive line allowed 8 sacks. 8. If I'm the offensive line coach, or if I'm Nathaniel Hackett, during the week, I'm showing the offensive line, I'm making them watch Joey Bosa do this. Like, yeah, this was nothing. This was, I'm shrugging because this was no effort at all. Because it was no effort at all by the offensive line. This offense is stuck. They're not just, they got lucky last week. I'm going to put it this way. The Jets' 4th win was lucky. It's a lucky win. Graham Gano shanked that field goal. He's out. He's now on the IR because he had knee surgery. But this effort by the offense, drop passes, bad running plays, Dalvin Cook being in the backfield still. I don't know why he wasn't traded at the trade deadline to go somewhere else because he was frustrated in his role. He knew what this was. He knew what this was coming in when he signed with that dotted line with that contract for $7 million. You're getting your $7 million, Dalvin Cook. Don't worry. You're getting your $7 million. You're getting paid. But at the end of the season, there's going to be evaluations, and you're going to be left on the side of the road as a free agent once again. But this is a modern day NFL. How this offense has produced 8 touchdowns in 8 games is beyond me. And my biggest wish right now is that Robert Saleh grows a pair, sits Zach Wilson down, and tells him, we're going to bench you. We're going to bench you because you're not getting the job done. We're going to put in either Tim Boyle, or we're going to put in Trevor Siemian, or we're going to wait to God, pray to God that Aaron Rodgers makes a full recovery, because at the end of the game, I don't know if you heard him, he was on a hot mic with Adam Schefter tweeted this out. Durbin James comes up to him and says, hey man, when are you coming back? And Aaron Rodgers says, in a few weeks. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, if they lose the next 3 games and we see the same performance that we saw last night against the Chargers, I'm not coming back at all. I'm waiting until next season, because Jets, the offensive line needs to improve. It's been a cavalcade of in and out players between injury and inconsistency. Dwayne Brown's coming back. Great. Good. Don't care. Can he play all 5 positions on the offensive line? I don't think so. But something needs to change. We've seen this film from Zach Wilson has not made. He gave us hope. He gave us a little bit of glimpse of hope in the Kansas City game, in the Denver game, in a way in the Philadelphia game. In the last 24 seconds to the game against the Giants. Yeah, great. He gave us his glimpses of hope. But the Jets fans are starting to disbelieve in this quarterback, and we're wondering, and all of us are wondering, why they continue to stand by Zach Wilson week in and week out. And I actually quoted that tweet, and I said, this team continues to find new ways to disappoint. I'm not going to say that we fans deserve better, but we've been promised better every year, and we continue to receive performances like last night. It's getting tired. Please, Woody Johnson, whichever Johnson brothers run the team, Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas, you need to do something. You need to kick this team in the ass. You need to help this offense start making plays. Or we're just going to raise the entire offensive side of the ball next year. We're going to bring in fresh personnel. You don't get the job done. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, and the thing is, The thing is, had my Seahawks not been so disappointing that CBS cut away from the game, I would have chosen your New York Jets as well, but I did not want to pile on. But I last night, I get back from bowling, I turn on the game, and I'm thinking, okay, the Jets defense is keeping them in this. All they have to do, all the offense has to do is manufacture something, and they will be in this game because you and I both know Brendan Staley's capability to lose games. So I was hanging my hat on that. And you know what? I'm gonna throw it back a little bit. For all the shots that everyone took, including myself, at Trent Dilfer, when he was on those 2000 Ravens team. I'll tell you something right now. If Trent Dilfer was quarterbacking the New York Jets last night, in that era, that era Trent Dilfer, I mean, I don't know how old he is now. So obviously I'm not talking in current day. But
I'm not gonna guess because I guess Shaq and Penny Hardaway's age is wrong 2 weeks ago. I'm not making that mistake twice.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, the Jets win that game. The Jets win that game if Trent Dilfer, 2000 Ravens era quarterback, is leading that team. The Jets find a way to win that game. Hell, I'll go all the way back. Now, I just said Geno has regressed. I'm going to have my eye on Geno because I want to see his emotions are starting to get the best of him. But Geno worked his ass off to come back and prove that he could play in this league. I'm going to go so far as to say that likely if Geno Smith was quarterbacking these New York Jets, they would win this game last night. Zach Wilson and the team is starting to quit on him. You can tell in the defense. If I was the defense, it's only human nature. If I was all these players, I'd be sitting on the sideline getting frustrated because I'm going to say we can't hold them off forever. You got to give us something because the Chargers do have a lot of talent and they just can't seem to find a way to put it together. But the offense has to give you something. It was a real disappointing game to watch, and I felt for you last night. I really did.
Yeah. It was it's 2022 all over again. It's starting to feel like 2022 all over again, where the defense is putting up the effort. The defense is putting through. They're holding their end of the bargain. And if the offense can't do anything on the field, if I'm Garrett Wilson, I'm frustrated as hell. If I'm Breece Hall, I'm frustrated as hell because you can't rely on this quarterback who Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas believe with all their heart and all their wisdom that he's going to one day lead them to the promised land. But there was a reason why they brought Aaron Rodgers in, and that plan blew up in 4 plays. And something's got to change because this quarterback's he's not getting it done. And I'm looking at the 2021 draft right now. If I'm Joe Douglas and I got the number 2 pick in the draft, I'm trading down and I'm picking an offensive lineman. And I'm doing the same thing when I trade back up into the draft with the Minnesota Vikings and I pick Elijah Vera Tucker. I'm taking both Penei Sewell and Elijah Vera Tucker. I'm not picking the quarterback. I'm signing Joe Flacco, having him play for a couple seasons as a bridge to whoever they draft in 2022. That's what my thinking is. Looking back retrospectively, I can't do Captain Hindsight for forever because I've been doing that for the last decade as a Jets fan, and it's making me it's sad. It's making me more sad. It's making me more sad than I am right now, based off of last night's game, and you've got 9 more games to get this figured out. You keep saying Robert Saleh says every week, we're figuring this out. We're close. We're this close. We're this close to getting Zach Wilson as an elite quarterback. We're this close. Every single week we get this close. And every single week, Zach Wilson takes 1 step forward, he takes 10 steps back. And something needs to change. Coach Saleh needs to grow a set and just say to Zach Wilson, this isn't working out. We're gonna put you in inactive. We're gonna bring in Tim Boyle. We're gonna bring in Trevor Siemian. They're more familiar with this offense. I want to see what they can do.
Yeah, Yeah, it's tough. And you know what? I'm gonna ask you. We've already gone long on this segment. This is gonna be
Yeah.
one of those shows. I'm gonna
Hmm.
ask you a question because the state of backup quarterbacking in the NFL this weekend, perhaps more than any other in recent history, demonstrated that there are some teams that got to reinvest in their backups, and
Hmm.
it's got to be a priority if somebody goes down. Because the best example I can come up with right now is, and I'm going to bring this all back around, people. Trust me, you've been with me long enough. You know what's going to happen. So
Hmm.
the Rams looked anemic with Brett Rippon at quarterback this past weekend. He wasn't ripping it up on the field. Yes, I said it. Now, he was terrible. As a result of that, because Stafford, this signals to me that Stafford will not play this week. Matthew Stafford, as tough as he is, the Colts are they're reaching out and they're signing. I just read it before we went live. They are signing Carson Wentz.
The
Given every
Colts
yes, the Rams are
again.
signing the
Oh, the
Rams
Rams are signing him. Okay, they said the
the
Colts.
Rams are
Oh my
signing him.
gosh.
No, not the Colts.
You missed out, Giants. You missed out on
See,
Carson Wentz experiment.
but that's the thing. The Colts are doing well because Minshew, he's not lighting the world on fire, but he's keeping them afloat down there. They're at least in games. So they invested in their backup quarterback position. Now, if how would you sign? Would you sign? The Rams are signing Carson Wentz because Brett Rippon was so bad.
Hmm.
Aaron, rewind back to week one, knowing what you know now. Aaron Rodgers goes down. The
Hmm.
Jets, if you were the Jets, would you have signed Carson Wentz?
Yep.
Yeah. See?
Because he's at least a step above what Zach Wilson is capable of doing in this offense. It would take him some time to learn. He would have been the practice squad for at least a couple weeks, but he would at least been that quarterback to come in and do a better job than what Zach Wilson is capable of doing on this field. Again, this is year 3 of the Zach Wilson experience. And I'm calling it that because this is what this is. It's an experience. And the experience is you've scored in 31 games, you've led the Jets to 20 touchdowns. 20 in 31 games played. Something's got to give. Somebody in that front office has to say, this is not working. This is not working. And you got to either let him go. After this season, you got to let him go. I know it's a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option, but you either got to release him or find a trade partner who's willing to in this point in his career to just take a flyer on him. I mean, this is not working. This is not working. It's making me sadder than I should be. And I had so much hope coming into this season. Had so much hope with the defense they had and everything being retooled in the offense. New coordinator, new quarterback, a quarterback who's won a Super Bowl, has won 4 MVPs, knows what it takes, wanted to be on this team. He wanted to be on this team. And we're back to square one. We're back to square zero. We're right back where we started in 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? Given his yard of tape, or his resume of tape rather, I don't know who would trade for Zach Wilson right now. It would have to be somebody. I'm going to bring it to baseball. It would have to be somebody like the Pittsburgh Pirates, who seem to have a knack for taking pitchers that absolutely blow up in other places and rebuilding them in Pittsburgh so that they are successful. The San Francisco Giants also have done similar things. They've taken pitchers that have blown up in other places. And I'm going to kind of throw a wild one out there. I think about the only team that would be able to do that would be somebody like the Kansas City Chiefs, because they don't need Zach Wilson right now. They could trade
No.
for him. They could trade for him and, not give up much. Mahomes is going to be there for the foreseeable future. And you let Zach Wilson learn with somebody like Andy Reid. That's about the only situation, but you're not going to get much for Zach Wilson because unfortunately his resume does not look good right now.
No, and at best you'll get like a 6th round pick if you include a pick like a 5th rounder with Zach Wilson. You'll get a 6th round pick back. I mean, Wilson has a lot of the same skills that Mahomes does. Mahomes just does it better, and he's more disciplined, and he knows, and he has pocket awareness, and he has pocket presence. He knows when he feels the heat, he's got to get out. He's got to get out of the pocket. He's mobile. Zach Wilson can learn in that system how to be the same type of quarterback that Patrick Mahomes is. The problem is the Jets fell in love with his pro day. They fell in love with his film. That seeing only 1 year of starting in college, and they said, "Yep, he's our guy," and it's backfired on them ever since. And now we're here again. So with that, got to the slow clap. Got to cleanse the palate with a slow clap between both our teams.
We need it.
Now that we've cleansed that palate, let's go to the most entertaining game of the week.
Yeah, here we go. This is a nice one.
That is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. All right, Dustin, what was your most entertaining game for week 9?
Well, I'm not 100% sure if you picked the same one, but I think you did, because to me there was only one option. There was one that was running neck and neck with it, but when I saw what happened, I said this has got to be it. And for me, it's the Buccaneers versus the Houston Texans. This is a game that you would show the aliens if they came down and you said, "Why do you like football so much?" And I'm going to continue to use that example. I have for a year and a half on this show. Nothing's going to change. Now, this game had everything. This game, Baker Mayfield came out with some of that FU energy that I said he was going to have last year, and he led an incredible drive, thinking that he's going to win the game. But the only problem that he did not count on is the fact that CJ Stroud looks like a special player. CJ Stroud was on fire this game. He was slinging it all over the place. And the best part to me about this game is that the Texans lost Kymie Fairburn to an injury at some point during this game. As a result of that, in the fourth quarter, they had to go for it on 4th down. They get it. They score a touchdown. And then the extra point, everybody's going, what are they going to do here? They go for 2. They get that too. And this game, it was unbelievable. It was just, it was crazy. And then, as I said, Baker comes out. He says, okay, we're going to have to score right now. They score, and you're thinking this game is over. But then CJ Stroud, he bombs it to Tank Dell. He orchestrated, I think they had, I'm trying to remember, I think they took over with 40 seconds left or something obscene on the clock. And he really just got down the field, and they score the touchdown to go ahead. And then they do bring somebody out to kick the field goal, and it's a running back, and he knocks the extra point right through the uprights. It was unbelievable. And then the Bucks tried to come back with a dink and dunk, but it just didn't happen.
Lateral City collapsed.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable game, and it was one that, candidly, when you looked at it on the slate, you didn't expect it to be that great of a game, but it is why this game is so great, and it's why people continue to watch every week. And it's why I say it's some of the best drama out there, because the other game that we're going to get to, the other game was the Vikings-Falcons. That was a great game, too, in its own right. It just got surpassed by this Houston-Tampa Bay game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I also had Buccaneers-Texans as my game of the week. Honorable mention to the Vikings and the Falcons. That was a great game, too.
Yes,
coming all the way to the end. But yeah, this game went back and forth all the way down to the final drive. Texans winning a shootout. And you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, Dustin. I'm gonna take credit. for that performance by CJ Stroud. If you remember
You
last
called
week,
him out.
I called him out. I said, look, he's the most disappointing player or most disappointing team from last week was the Houston Texans. How they lost to this Carolina Panthers team is still beyond me. Still beyond me. And I'm pretty sure half of Houston is wondering the same thing. But CJ Stroud proved me wrong. He proved me wrong. Nearly 500 yards passing, five touchdowns?
Yeah, 5 touchdowns. Yes.
5 touchdowns. That beautiful ball at the end. And my honorable mention this week for the most notable performance was indeed Dare Ogunbowale.
Yes.
Who came in as the spare kicker, not only kicked was placed on the kickoffs and was doing pretty well in that regard, but kicked a 33-yard field goal to take the lead for the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
I was going crazy. I'm going, this guy's not going to make it. This guy's not going to make it. Then you see the kick go and go and go.
Yeah.
Right down Broadway. I'm going, oh my God.
It was right down the pike.
Right down Broadway. And I'm going, this game is drunk. This game is six. It's like 3. It's like 3 fingers of whiskey drunk. That's how drunk this game was. It was incredible, and I gotta give credit where credit's due to the Buccaneers as well. To Baker Mayfield for leading the Buccaneers down the field to take the lead late. But then CJ Stroud, man, he's just throwing the ball all over the place. No fear. Crappy offensive, absolute garbage offensive line. But unlike my New York Jets, who can't seem to do a damn thing offensively, CJ Stroud is just absolutely balling, has no fear, taking the Texans down the field, gets the game-winning touchdown, and game of the week. Game of the week. I would dare say game of the year so far.
Yeah, I would say so far. That was a great game. And to your point, Ryan, he is doing all of this. They are doing all of this. The Texans offense with virtually no running game. I know because I have Damon Pierce in fantasy. I know how it is. And it's not like Singletary's lighting it up either. Basically, the Texans offense is one-dimensional right now, and it's CJ Stroud chucking it all over the yard. That's what they have to do, and they're making it happen.
Yep, and I said in this program a few weeks ago, CJ Stroud is my rookie of the year, and it continues to stand. He's still my rookie of the year, hands down. He's my candidate. Yeah,
I don't think anybody's going to be able to. I mean, if he keeps going like this, I don't think anybody's going to. That's already a statement win. He's already got a statement win.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a brief break from this cathartic episode of Required. But when we come back, we're going to talk more Week 9 in the NFL. And we'll get to your comments as well, so stay tuned. Are you ready to elevate your sports betting experience? Look no further than DraftKings Sportsbook. Why choose DraftKings Sportsbook? Unmatched variety. Bet on your favorite sports leagues or discover new ones to follow. Live betting. Test your instincts and feel the adrenaline as you bet in real time while the game unfolds. Promotions and boosted odds. DraftKings keeps the excitement going with a range of promotions, odds boosts, and special offers. And a user-friendly interface. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or new to the game, DraftKings' intuitive platform makes placing bets a breeze. Ready to dive in? Belly Up Sports has partnered with DraftKings Sportsbook to give you an exclusive offer. Sign up at dkng.co/BellyUp150 and new customers will get $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet $5 or more. Don't miss out on this opportunity to take your love for sports to the next level. Sign up today and let the games begin. Please gamble responsibly. 21 years or older. Eligibility restrictions apply. See website for details. That's right, folks. Do what the handsome man in that advertisement said. DraftKings is now one of our premier sponsors at Belly Up Sports. And if you're somebody who's looking to get into the sportsbook game, if you live in a state that allows online sportsbook, get yourself into the game with DraftKings. A $5 deposit for new customers with that particular link. $5 deposit, you get $200 in bonus bets today. So go to that website, dkng.co/bellyup150. You get $200 in bonus bets with a $5 deposit today. So go ahead again. Just do what that handsome. Just follow what that handsome man in the advertisement said, and join DraftKings today with Belly Up Sports. Again, it's dkng.co/bellyup150. Tell them that Ryan from No Credentials Required sent you. Oh, and Dustin too.
Yeah.
All right, continuing in week 9, the most notable performance. And I kind of like to go off the beaten path a little bit when it comes to my most notable performance. And this week is no exception, because Kenny Moore II had not only one, but 2 pick sixes in Carolina, picking off that other rookie, Chase Young, who's having some growing pains of his own in Carolina, learning real fast what it's like to be a rookie quarterback in the NFL, throwing 2 pick sixes to Kenny Moore. And the great thing about this story is that Kenny Moore brought all his sisters and their families to that game in Carolina, because I guess he's originally from the state of North Carolina, brought his family to the game, and has the performance of a lifetime with 2 pick sixes returned for touchdowns against the Carolina Panthers, and helping the, otherwise punchless Indianapolis Colts to a big win over the Carolina Panthers. Dustin, your most notable performance of week 9.
Well, I guess I'm the polar opposite, because I had a pick for my most notable performance, and I'm going to find another way to get to him. But after CJ Stroud did what he did, I had to pick him. He had the 5 TDs. He threw for 470 yards, and he went 30 of 42 passing, which is not, he was accurate in that game, and he continues to astound me. So he is my most notable performance. But like I said, there's a couple this week more than any others, because I was almost going to give the nod to Antonio Pierce for the coaching job he did with the Las Vegas Raiders. They look like a rejuvenated team. And I know it's one game, but, he really...
And it's against the New York Giants.
Yes, that's part of it, with Tommy DeVito at quarterback, which goes to my backup quarterback point from earlier, because John Toon, or whatever his name was, with the Arizona Cardinals, that was
Clayton Toon.
Clayton Toon, that's right. Yeah, Clayton Toon.
Yikes.
Yeah, there was a lot of things, but there is one person that I will get to later in the show that also was quite notable, but CJ Stroud takes it for me. I'm on the beaten path. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I forgot to get to the comments. Your Uncle Al chimes in. More mobile, Joe Flacco or a cardboard cutout of Joe Flacco?
I'm going cutout because you can bend it at the top.
Yeah, same here. Cold Iron says Texans were the most entertaining. Stroud does not play like a rookie. Indeed, he does not. He also says Skull Vikings.
Yeah.
And last week's guest, Drew Willingham. What's up, fellas? Catching a few minutes on lunch break. And he also asked how the 24-hour gaming go. You can actually go back to the beginning of the show, Drew.
Yes.
And Dustin will tell you all about it. But
for like 9 minutes, I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but otherwise, I stopped by. Dustin did great. I stopped by. We did some playing. We did some behind the scenes stuff too.
Productions meeting.
An impromptu production meeting.
Over a couple of beers, which you graciously bought by.
That's right. I did. That's right. From my fridge. So, all right. Our hottest individual take of the week. Dustin, please, what was your hottest individual take from this week?
Well, I'm gonna keep this one quick, but I'm passionate about it. Now, I'm gonna feel like you from a couple weeks ago, because you already mentioned this on our fine airwaves/video waves.
Yes. Let the evil flow through you.
The officials.
There it is.
This one is ridiculous. This one is ridiculous. Now, maybe because in my sleep-deprived brain, I just didn't see it. But I am sitting there. And I, as I said earlier in the show, once CBS cut away from my precious Seahawks, I cut away from CBS. I said, I'm going to watch on Red Zone now. And I was dejected. I was feeling demoralized. But I saw this roughing the passer call that was in the Commanders Patriots game. A Commanders player, and you're gonna, Drew, I know you agree with me on this because you're watching right now live, like WCW Monday Nitro. But anyway, there's a sack. It's a sack on Mac Jones. The defender is called for roughing the passer because
Bill Belichick is mind control, and he was controlling. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
It's because they want the defenders not to put their weight on the quarterback. They don't want these hits where you're coming down on the quarterback. Now, I understand what they're talking about because that's a classic move. People constantly intentionally shift their weight to bring it all down. To bring it all down on top of somebody. But as soon as I see this, I go, that's a sack. That's a sack.
Yeah.
And then it's called roughing the passer. And one of the announcers, I forget who's calling that game. They couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it better myself. They said, that's a sack. The ball's in his hand. The ball was not out of his hand. I could see.
Yeah, and Dean Blandino was saying the exact same thing when he was
and the
saying,
thing is,
ask him, is this a roughing the passer? And Dean Blandino's like, how is this roughing the passer?
Yeah, he said it's not because the ball wasn't out of his hand, and they want Dean Blandino said they want the defender to shift to the right, move away from the quarterback. But let me ask you this: who is Neo playing defense for the Washington Commanders? Because you'd have to do some Matrix level stuff to get out of the way, because newsflash, momentum is going to carry you and the quarterback down to the ground, and your weight is going to shift onto that quarterback because you sacked him. Ridiculous call. And eventually this game, it's going to become even more impossible for defenders. It is already, the defenders already walk a very fine line, and it is just going to get worse.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself, although I kind of have. You've finally come to the dark side. You've embraced the hate. You've embraced the hatred of these NFL referees. And I get it. They're human. At the same time, though, we need full-time refs.
Yeah.
We need full-time refs. Drew says the better team won the game, though. Absolutely agree. And I said to Drew in the private chat, I said to him, congratulations to your Commanders or Command Skins for continuing the misery in New England for 2023.
Yeah.
He also says, I think the ref just made the call to appease the DraftKings bets.
Maybe.
And now my hottest individual take of the week. Hey, Miami Dolphins, how's this going, Miami Dolphins? And look, I'm not saying this to get on to rile up the Miami Dolphins fan base.
No,
but I cannot take the Miami Dolphins seriously until they beat a team above 500. They had a chance. They had a shot to do it. They were down 21-0 entering the fourth quarter in Frankfurt against the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs have their offensive problems of their own. We talked about it last week. But this Miami Dolphins team reminds me a lot of the 1990s Detroit Lions run and shoot teams.
Yeah.
Where they absolutely run up the score, clobber lesser quality teams. And yet when they face teams above 500 that are better quality, of better talent, and they get smacked in the face, they get punched in the face. Listen, Mike Tyson said it best. I'll try. I won't do it. I won't do my impression of Mike Tyson because I don't want to get. I don't want to get called stuff. I don't want to get canceled. But he says everyone has a game plan until they get punched in the face, and that's the Miami Dolphins. They have a game plan, and then they get punched in the face, and that game plan shrivels. That game plan wilts like a bad hamburger under a heat lamp. That game plan goes to hell. Absolute positive. Look, Miami Dolphins, they have plenty of time. They have all the season, the rest of the season. This team's a wild card team right now. This AFC East, with the exception of the Miami Dolphins, with the exception of the New England Patriots, I mean, even the Jets still have a chance to win this division.
They could.
All four teams in the AFC East lost this week. Miami lost. New England lost. Yes. Buffalo lost on Sunday night. And my Jets, unfortunately, lost on Monday night. But every team, this division's wide open now, with the exception of New England. I mean, Miami could still sneak it. Miami Dolphins were a wild card pick for me this in our NFL preview. But until they get down and they get dirty and they get willing to get gritty and beat a team that's above 500, I can't take them seriously. Like everybody said early in the season. Remember Dustin, early in the season when they were 2-0, they were putting up all those points, they were good, all those yards, and that 70-point performance against Denver. Everybody's saying, "Oh, Miami's elite. Miami's finally elite for the first time since Dan Marino. They're elite." And the next week they go to Buffalo, and what happened in Buffalo? They got punched in the face multiple times by the Buffalo Bills, and ever since then, they play against the Eagles, play against the Chiefs. They got punched in the face in those games and lost those games. Look, and again, I'm not saying this to rile up the Dolphins fan base because I'm a New York Jets fan. I'm saying this as a football observer, somebody who's watched football for a very long time. And Dustin, I'm pretty sure you have the same opinion about this Miami Dolphins team. Yeah. I just can't take them seriously. I love the fans who are saying, "Yeah, this is awesome. We finally have an offense to do great stuff and do great things." Just can't take this seriously right now. I just can't.
Yeah, I agree because your observation is right on the money, and to bring it to, I seem to be the king of bringing in other sport analogies right now, but this reminds me of the early rep on the Showtime Lakers. They were billed as a finesse team, but if you punched them in the mouth, they couldn't take it. They went out. They changed personnel a little bit. They fixed that stuff. They fixed it. But there are those teams that have a rep. And I'm not trying to rile up the Bills fan base, but I think the Marv Levy Buffalo Bills always had a little bit of that because they did that run and shoot offense along with the
K-gun.
Yeah, that's right, the K-gun offense, and I think the Houston Oilers also ran a variation of that.
Yep, Houston ran a variation of the run and shoot, and they were a pretty good team. They had good teams too. Ask Cole Johnson. Hey, they ran the run and shoot, but they just couldn't get over the top.
Yep, they couldn't do it. And that was the knock against the Jim Kelly led Buffalo Bills because they had all the pieces. But if a team could counteract that K-gun offense, they couldn't really. The Bills of that era could not pivot. They could not pivot, and it. I mean, much respect to them for going to those 4 Super Bowls because it takes.
Yep.
Takes a heck of a team to even do that. No teams have barely even gone back to back. You know, that was amazing when my Seahawks did it, and we won't talk about what happened.
I won't bring it up.
But to go there 4 times, but it's why they didn't win because they ran into teams that knew how to counteract and somewhat neutralize that K-gun offense a little bit. And
it all started with the Giants in Super Bowl 25.
Mm-hmm.
They said we're gonna take away the run game, but we're gonna let you try to pass all over. That's what Belichick has always done. Takes away the run and he tries to make your quarterback win the game for you. And that's the that was a blueprint. The blueprint.
It's true that Parcells blueprint there that Belichick, love him or hate him, he has enacted to a T. But it is with his own spin on it, of course. But yeah, your take is dead on the money. The Dolphins are reminding me of some teams to some degree. Now they finally got over the hump, but the Colts were regarded like this as well.
Yep.
They just couldn't beat quote unquote physical teams.
Yep. All right, we're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to quickly go through what we're looking forward to in Week 10 of the NFL. So stay tuned. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. So yes, the best Invader Coffee, the best coffee your money can buy. And Dustin, fall's just about over. October is over. We're into November now. And guess what I saw that's now on sale at Invader Coffee? They brought back the holiday blends.
Yes. I am going to order some of that cookie crumble one right away. That one was fantastic. And a little known fact, you might ask, what was powering me through my Extra Life playthrough in the early hours? I'll tell you, it was Bad Santa Invader Coffee. I got some Bad Santa, and I also got some K-cups of the Invader blend for work.
OG blend.
And I fired up and ordered a bag of the bacon bourbon coffee. So I'm going to give that one a try this weekend. Right. But I credit Invader and the Bad Santa getting me through the early hours of the Extra Life.
Yes, Drew. Bad Santa. It's awesome.
It's very, very good.
And the best way to check it out is to go into our link in the description, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or on the podcast side. Go to our affiliate link, help the show that way, and order yourself some not only the holiday blends, but also the OG original blend, the Outsider blend, which is a really great dark blend. Break in case of emergency. That's a medium blend, which is also excellent. Try some Invader Coffee. You might pay a little bit extra for the shipping, but it's well worth your time because you get it in a matter of days, not weeks, not a week. You get it in days, 2 days. I took 2 days for my last order to come in, and I'm excited to get the holiday blend. I can't wait till payday so I can get myself the holiday blend. And even though I don't officially start the Christmas season until Black Friday, still want to be in the holiday mood with some great coffee. So get yourself some Invader Coffee through our affiliate link. Help the show, help a small business, help a small veteran-owned business, and save yourself some money with promo code BELLYUP at checkout. All right, NFL Week 10, what we're looking forward to. Dustin, what's your most intriguing matchup?
My most intriguing matchup is for me, it's the Browns-Ravens. Browns-Ravens, because for two reasons. First off, Ryan, you had the prediction that the entire NFC East would make the playoffs at our show. And I'm gonna tell you,
going to hell.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you just picked the wrong division, because as of now, the entire AFC North is in the playoffs. It's pretty crazy, but I don't think the Steelers are going to hang on despite Mike Tomlin's best efforts. That Canada-led offense, it's looking bad. But
it's bad.
I will tell you, this Browns-Ravens matchup has me super intrigued because, one, the Browns are one of the top defenses in the league right now. Two, Deshaun Watson started to look like maybe he's getting it back a little bit. Three, the Ravens defense, trust me, they're for real. They dismantled my Seahawks, dismantled them, and they have played extremely well against quarterbacks. I know that fantasy football is different than real football, but sometimes you can use the fantasy as a corollary to the real game. Guess how many points the Baltimore Ravens have given up to opposing quarterbacks fantasy points through, what was this, 9 games?
Is it in the single digits?
It is in the double digits. They have limited quarterbacks as far as point totals, like fantasy point totals, to under 100 fantasy points through 9 games. That doesn't that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. This Baltimore defense is for real. And yes, I did just use fantasy football as a as a corollary,
As a marker.
but and shout out to the 06010. Field Yates had that stat on that one. But that just blew my mind, and it reinforced my point because I said, geez, this Baltimore Ravens defense, I think they found their groove. So it's 2 great defenses going together. It's Lamar Jackson, who's looked very good. This newish Baltimore Ravens offense looks like the real deal. The Browns have some pieces. I want to see how these 2 teams stack up against each other.
Yeah. I wonder if the Browns are. I mean, the Browns are definitely out for some sort of measure of revenge based on a few weeks ago, week 4. I think they played against each other,
so,
and the Ravens absolutely just walloped the Browns. And look, we saw what happened to your Seahawks last week. We saw what happened to the Lions a couple weeks before.
Yes,
Baltimore is practically unstoppable.
Yeah, they're looking like a Super Bowl contender right now. They really are.
They are, and hey, if the Ravens win the Super Bowl this year, that investment in Lamar Jackson is going to look like a stroke of genius by their GM.
Mm-hmm.
So my most intriguing matchup this week is the Lions and the Chargers. Chargers are back to 500. Unfortunately, they beat my Jets to do so. Their offense isn't that spectacular, but their defense is playing pretty darn well. Did it against the Bears, did it against the Jets. They're both lower quality opponents when it comes to the offense, but this defense is still all right. The Lions are entering off a bye week. They're traveling to Los Angeles to play the Chargers, and I'm curious to see what kind of team we'll see of the Lions going into this game after a bye week, because I know what the Jets are like coming off a bye week in the Robert Saleh era where they're just get off to a slow start. And I'm kind of curious to see what this Dan Campbell-led team in all three phases of the game is going to be like on Sunday when they travel all the way to Los Angeles, Englewood, and play at SoFi Field. So that's my most intriguing matchup of this week. Desperation City, I'll lead off with this one. Jets Raiders. Look, the season's I know it, you know it. Season's on the line for the New York Jets. This team is coming off a stinging defeat, and I gotta ask the question: will this offense finally meet the standard the defense is willing to put forth, or will the Raiders continue to ride that momentum from last week with their new coach, new energy in the room? They seem to like him. Max Crosby confirmed this. There's a story about Josh McDaniels that was confirmed.
I
don't know if you watched that. I wanted to not believe it.
I know
when that Jay Fraser Fraser story came out. It's like
Jay Glazer, real.
This can't be real. And then Max Crosby goes on Pat McAfee's show and says, "Yeah, it was absolutely for real."
Yeah,
Josh McDaniels is that much of a douche when he said, "Don't ever mention the Patriots again."
Like that.
And then Mark Davis said, "You know what? That's my guy right there."
Yeah.
And from what I understand, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it looks like they're not going to repeat the same mistake they did with Rich Bisaccia, and they're going to make Antonio Pierce the permanent head coach of the team going forward.
Well, I hope they do, because I knew Antonio Pierce from his time in the New York Giants, and then I believe he spent some time as an analyst as well on one of ESPN's football shows, I think. So I knew him a little bit, but I did not realize that he grew up in Compton, California, I believe. Like, the Raiders were his team. This is a dream for him. He is going to take this seriously. He's also somebody that has played the game in recent history, so the players are going to respect him. He treats the players like human beings. You could see Aiden O'Connell, he was throwing the ball around great out there. He's making some good throws. Now, he also has, pardon my French, but I'm going to say it, he's taken a page from the Arthur Smith playbook of shitty mustaches. Aiden O'Connell's, take a look at it. Take a look at it. It's not
By the
great.
way, I hate Movember. All right. Don't grow the stupid mustache. Grow a beard. Go whole hog, man. Whole hog.
Some of us can.
Mustaches.
Some of us can't. Some of us, I am one of them.
Some of us can grow a very
you grow a lush beard. We have to get Manscaped as a sponsor back on the show.
Yeah, we do.
But but I'll tell you, Antonio Pierce, he really impressed me, and he is the polar opposite of Josh McDaniels in every way. He inspires the team, and then Josh McDaniels comes to him. That was going to be my hot take of the week, but I didn't want to just rag on Patriots disciples for the second week in a row. But I couldn't believe it. But then, obviously, watching the game, I saw that roughing the passer call, and I said, "There it is. There it is for me." But wow, what I hope Mark Davis does not make that mistake, because you eloquently spoke about Rich Bisaccia and the mistake that the Raiders made in not retaining him on last week's show. Antonio Pierce is going to have that team going in the right direction.
Yep. Now, what's your desperation city?
My desperation city pick might be a little odd, but I'm going for it. I'm saying that it's Jags Niners, because don't look now, but the Jags are 6-2 after we thought that they were off to a somewhat sputtering start. And Trevor Lawrence, he has a message for all the critics out there. He says that keep criticizing us, we'll just continue to find a way to win. But I am picking this as a desperation city match for the Niners, because the 49ers start out the season gangbusters. They looked unbeatable. And then, sorry, I'm going to say it, much to my glee a little bit, they actually lost 3 straight games, and they allowed the Seahawks to jump them into first place. Now, the Seahawks are not in first place anymore after that drubbing they took by the Ravens. But however, the Niners have looked exceptionally human, and they just haven't been able to find that dominance that they had. And so I'll be very interested to see if they can kind of get their season back on track here against a good-looking Jaguars team. And I'll specifically be watching the Niners' run defense, because Travis Etienne has been running all over people lately. So, and we're going to see. But I'll be very interested to see how the Niners play, see if they can get their season back on track.
Yeah. Drew says, no offense, but I hope the Hawks defense gets dismantled again this Sunday. Yet that's wishful thinking, because they're playing the Command Skins. I did say. He says he did, even with the Command Skins name, when I said congratulations for keeping the misery going in New England.
Yeah.
It says, keep flowing, fellas. I'll listen to the parts I missed during the ride home. Got to get back to IC-ish. Thanks, Drew. Thanks for stopping by,
Drew.
buddy.
Yeah, thanks for checking in.
Yeah, we're going to definitely have Drew back on the show at some point during the season. All right, on to we would rather drink castor oil than watch this game of the week. Dustin, go ahead and lead us off for this one.
For this one, for me, it's going to be the Jets Raiders. I'm sorry, Ryan, but I don't want to. I don't want to watch that Jets offense again. Now,
it's offensive.
I am partially intrigued about the matchup, because if the Raiders have some pieces on defense now, and if they play inspired like they did under Antonio Pierce this past weekend, it'll be interesting to watch. But Josh Jacobs, I want to see if the Jets can contain Josh Jacobs a little bit. I want to see how Aiden O'Connell looks against a really good Jets defense. But I just can't bring myself to watch this game again, because I just do not have confidence in Zach Wilson to lead. If the Raiders get out, I sound terrible, but if the Raiders get out to a 14 to 17 point lead, this game could be over.
No, I don't disagree. The way the Jets played offense last week, I don't disagree with you there. Especially since, again, they're coming off that momentum of that high of a new coach coming in and bringing new energy. This is going to be a tough matchup for my Jets for sure. My castor oil game of the week is Thursday Night Football, or I'll call it Turdsday Night Football, because it's between the unstoppable force of the Carolina Panthers and the immovable object of the Chicago Bears. No matter what happens in this game, the Bears will wind up winning. And I'll tell you, and it doesn't matter if the Bears win or the Bears lose, or if Carolina wins or Carolina loses, because the Bears will still come up on top because they own Carolina's first round pick in the 2024 draft. So this game could end in a tie, and it would still be the Bears pick. They would still have the number one pick in the draft in 2024. I mean, they're on their way to, and then the Bears right now are on their way to another top 5 pick. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But no matter what happens in this game, I would rather drink castor oil than watch this game, unless you're a Bears fan, or unless you're a diehard football fan, a diehard Bears fan, or a diehard Panthers fan. I still have yet to meet one. This game is just going to be super unwatchable because you know what's going to happen in the end. The Bears wind up on top.
Mm-hmm.
Win, lose, or draw, they still are going to be in the top 5 of the draft order this year.
Well, and you know what? Wouldn't it be feasible? Wouldn't it be something if the Bears ended up like picking first and second because they finished so bad?
Yep. I gotta tell you right now who they would draft: Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. Those are 1-2 in next year's, projected to be number 1 and number 2 in this year's draft.
Yeah. But you know what, Ryan? I think I realized when picking the castor oil game, I was getting ready before the show. I think that your castor oil game is so bad that I Men in Blacked it out of existence. I got the, I went to myself because I forgot that game was even on the slate. I forgot it was even on the slate. Because I would have picked that too.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, you picked what you picked. I totally understand as a Jets fan, and unfortunately, they're going to be on Sunday Night Football this week.
Yes,
and I can't avoid apoplexy if they start off the way they started this past Monday night. I can't switch over to Red Zone. I have to stay and I have to stick around and watch the stupid game if they wind up being terrible again. Player to watch in Week 10. I don't know about you, Dustin. I think it's pretty unanimous between the both of us. Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs.
100%. Because Josh Dobbs, first of all, we have to give this man his flowers, and we have at certain points on this show, but I don't think enough, because you can't speak enough about what this man did this past weekend. It was unbelievable. First off, everybody, including me, wrote the Arizona Cardinals off at the beginning of the season when they let go of Colt McCoy. I said they're totally giving up on the season. They're not doing anything.
Tanking. Yeah, and they put in Clayton Tune last week, and I'm sitting there going, "Tell me you're tanking without telling me you're tanking."
Yeah. Although supposedly Kyler Murray is going to start. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, that'll improve things.
I am interested. I am on some level, though. I am interested to see what Jonathan Gannon can do with Kyler Murray, because I think Jonathan Gannon has impressed me as a coach. So I'll be interested there. But Josh Dobbs had the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, they're 1-8, but with Josh Dobbs, they were competitive. They knocked off the Cowboys, which was a huge win. And he came in and Minnesota traded for him. He comes in, he barely knew any of the players at all. He didn't know their names, but he was if you watch the clip of the locker room after that unbelievable win where he didn't have numbers that lit up the stat sheet, but he came in relief because the person that was relieving Kirk Cousins, he went down in the game due to injury. Entered Josh Dobbs, who had just been traded there. And we all thought that eventually he'd be the starter there, but we thought he's going to need a couple of weeks because he has to familiarize himself with this offense. He comes in, he doesn't know anybody. He's asking people in the huddle, okay, you go do this, you go do this. Who's that? He said, I knew a lot of first names, but I didn't know a lot of last names. And he shouted out, I don't know if it was a player or coach because I don't know the Vikings that well, but they spent 5 extra hours with him, getting him prepared for in walkthrough. And he was very gracious, but he just said, hey, on to the next one. We're going to do some things. And you know what? I don't think the Vikings season is sunk. I think they're going to ride this all the way to some momentum. They're going to keep this momentum going. He is unbelievable. It's the epitome of next man up because you didn't hear Josh Dobbs say one time that, oh man, I really I was thrown in over my head. He looked completely calm. He looked poised, and he looked every bit an NFL quarterback in his game against the Falcons, which the Falcons also showed up to play. They should have gone with Taylor Heineke at the beginning of the year. The Falcons' offense showed signs of life, although Arthur Smith continues to make confounding decisions running this offense. But that cannot take anything away. Josh Dobbs, unbelievable. I've hogged enough time. Your thoughts, sir?
No, you pretty much took all the everything you said. You took right. You took the words right out of my mouth. You were cutting to my brain and took them, and you pretty much said exactly everything that I was thinking. Josh Dobbs, hero of the day for sure. Wasn't definitely another honorable mention of my notable performance of week 9. Even though his stats weren't sexy, but guess what? He led the team to a win, and he barely knew anybody in that lineup coming in. So, hey, look, Josh Dobbs definitely a player to watch. They're taking on Saints defense, who is all right, but had 3 picks last week against given a rookie quarterback, but still they came back from a 14-point deficit and then went on. I think it was a 14-7 deficit and went up winning that game. But yeah, Josh Dobbs, I'm definitely keeping an eye on him. And by the way, I would rather rather have Josh Dobbs in my lineup than Zach Wilson right now. It's I think every Jets fan is saying the same thing. So on that note, we're going to wrap things up. And thanks for those who have stuck around watching or have listened to this edition of No Credentials Required. Again, go ahead and follow us on our social medias on Twitter, Instagram, and scarcely use TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/NoCredsREQ. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And again, follow us on all our social media channels. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on a myriad of podcast platforms, your preferred podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast, rate and review. 5 stars is preferred rating. We may even read your review on the air. So that's going to do it for this edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need to press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thanks for being with us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Good night, everybody.